Do culturists think that Western civilization is superior? Absolutely not. But don't get me wrong, I love democracy, freedom of speech, rights, separation of church and state. I think these things are sacred. But as a culturist, I realize the only reason I think they're sacred is because I was raised in them. Diversity exists. Had I been raised in another culture, I have different values to cherish. In an Islamic civilization, for example, you're raised with the Quran, and this leads to a sort of theocratic state. They say it's a very rich kind of life, and I believe them. However, I was raised in the West. I'm not into it. It's not for me. In Asian societies, the citizens kind of get a kick out of a racist nationalist kind of system. Again, I was raised in the West. Not for me, not into it. As a Westerner, I like individualism, I like rights, but I realize as a culturist that these are not universal. There's no metaphysical way to say that these are superior. They're only superior to me because I was raised with them. But don't you even for a second think that I'm not as willing as anybody else to fight for Western civilization. On the contrary, it's those very people that tell you the West is superior. Those people that say history has ended and now Western style rights will take over the world. Those are the people that take our civilization for granted. It's the culturists that are always pointing out that diversity is important, that competition is real. It's the culturists that are always saying if we don't pass culturist laws to protect the West, we can lose Western civilization. Culturists look around the world, they look at Islamic nations, and they notice they're not throwing away their culture, they're not throwing away theocracy for Western style rights. In fact, quite the opposite. They're saying you can't bring Western culture and you can't bring Western churches into our countries. Meanwhile, they're going around and building mosques all over the Western world. Don't think for a second that Western culture is somehow taking over the world magically. Culturists know it isn't. It isn't. Culturists are the ones that point out that we're in a bit of a fight economically with China, and they're kicking our butts. Do you think that they're hot to follow our model? We prove to them by example every day that democracy leads to debt. Don't think it's obvious around the world that the Western ways are superior and that Western style rights are the future. It's not true. Western cultures are very, very practical. They look around the world, they say, look, Western values exist in a very small space. We need to protect these little places. We need to have culturist rights that protect them. We aren't going to feel comfortable outside of this little circle. Does Western culturism hold that Western cultures are superior? Do they hold that they are the future and democracy and rights are going to take over the world? Absolutely not. In fact, that's the very reason we think it's so important for us to be culturists.